And we're live with a very special edition of the Speaker Podcast. Pretty stoked about this one.
What is this, 22.3?
22 point something, yes.
Yeah.
But no, super stoked. I called it. Yes, Bungie did, in fact, release the deets for Arc 3.0 ahead of the TWAB. So I have thoughts. Sam has thoughts. We're going to go over. I'm not going to go through. It's the Speaker Podcast. You know what that means. This is the info without all the bull fluff, right? Like, so I'm going
to skip over all of them, like hyping up, like, oh, this is what our this is what the mind space was.
We don't care about some stupid movie from 2009. We don't care about any of that. We care about the deets.
What does our character end up doing in the end? Let me tell you. They gotta go fast.
Would you call this Go Fast Update? Go Fast Update?
Honestly, I would call it Mixed Feelings the update. Because I have mixed feelings about all of this.
Yeah.
We'll get into this and I'll explain where my thoughts come from.
Some audio buzz, he said.
Really?
That's what he says.
Interesting. I'm not hearing it. Let me just see if it's mine.
I don't hear it from you, so I would hope not.
Yeah, I don't hear anything either. Did it go away? Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
I'm watching the YouTube on live, and I heard it for a second. It was like a thumping sound, but it's gone away on the stream. So yeah, I can hear you on there. Oh wait, no, I can't hear you on the stream. Yeah, you're talking and your box is lighting up, but I can't hear you at all.
Got you. Okay, turn that on. Make sure that everything is plugged up correctly. Okay. All
it's
right.
on your end. The static is coming from you.
So you can still hear it though? Static?
Mm-hmm.
God darn it. Okay.
It sounds like one of your cables isn't plugged in all the way.
Yeah, it should be.
And whenever you unmute, it comes back on.
I'm muted? I shouldn't be muted anymore. I should be.
So you're getting Snipe's delay a couple seconds after it's actually happening.
Okay, that's strange. I see what it's doing though. Like the audio is flickering, and I don't know why.
Yeah. I mean, it's off now.
Yeah, I reset it.
Nope, it's back.
Okay, very strange. Okay. Hey, buddy, I'm busy. I need you to go. Still doing. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Anyways, I guess we're just gonna kind of go with it. I don't really know.
Maybe just reset it. Like, stop. Wait. Yeah, and it's good now.
It's good now.
It's very low in the background.
So you can't hear me?
I can hear you,
okay.
But it stopped now. But I think whenever you mute your mic, it's when it stops completely.
Okay, I guess so long as you can hear me, I guess. I'm not sure. I can also
that's gonna be difficult for the people.
I can also try to do this. Okay, how's that? Is that any better? See if anybody can verify that that's better. Maybe.
That's better.
That is better. You can hear me now?
Whatever you're doing now is good.
Okay. I'm using the audio from my actual camera. So okay, we'll do that, and then I'll do the bug fix later. Okay, so sorry everybody, sorry for that. 5 minutes in, here we go. Yes, okay, Arc 3.0. Of course, Void 3.0, I think they did a great job. Solar 3.0, they did a great job. What I want to say before we really dive into this is, I think that they have done a rather good job together of making sure that each subclass is its own real identity, right? And that's very important, because you don't want this stuff to feel stagnant and feel the same.
Right.
So if
that's actually something we've been talking about quite a bit recently, is just Destiny trying to find that identity, and showing up in our subclasses means they're focusing on specifically that aspect of it. So that's pretty cool to see.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll get started with this. Let's talk about the buffs and debuffs that are key to Arc 3.0. First up is the new buff, Amplified, which is key to Arc 3.0 experience. An Amplified Guardian is faster, both in terms of movement speed and in terms of their weapon handling, and more agile, able to perform long slides, and that can function as a devastating setup for some of the attacks that follow. Unlike other damage-type buffs, Void Invisibility or Solar's Radiant, players don't need to equip any specific aspects or fragments to become amplified. By default, all arc classes become amplified after rapidly defeating targets with any arc damage, and equipped aspects and fragments offer additional ways to become or benefit from being amplified.
Translation: Risk Runner and Trinity.
Or I've got. We'll go over some other stuff later. Some other weapons. Bloodbane is here. What's up, Blood? Risk Runner, Trinity Eagle. Those are of course going to be great options. I'm going to start by saying I like that they tied it more to the subclass and not to the fragments or aspects.
Yes.
Because that. Yeah, I feel that's good. I feel like that's something good, a new change.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with having something intrinsic like that, if this is tied to the identity, with Arc being you have to be moving.
Yeah. This
would be like a staple of the whole thing. Would be move to get your benefits. So I do like that as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. After sprinting for a few seconds, an Amplified Guardian will gain another boost in speed, as designer Mike Humboldt put it, basically as fast as we can make our sprint animation go. Which is crazy. Gaining a sizable... Go ahead, sorry.
I want to see... So first off, if it's underwhelming, but like, really? Your guy can't move faster than that? Like the sprint animation? But the other hand of it, like, ooh, this could be really fast. Like, we used to play with a guy who he would pop Thunder Crash just to run away, because it made his character move faster and he could see all around him. Idiot move, but if it makes it look faster, then sure, you gotta be moving fast. You got those lightning bolts going at you.
Yeah. Oh man, it's crazy. Gaining a sizable PvE damage resistance buff and enabling an even longer slide ability. Even if a player is no longer amplified, as long as they keep sprinting, the speed boost buff will stay active, which is very cool. I like that they thought about that ahead of time. That even if you're out of combat, so long as you're still moving, the speed buff remains, which is nice. Because of course that's one of the first things you think about whenever they talk about this. Speed booster probably took the longest for me to get on board with, and that you were already moving faster to begin with, said Humboldt. When asked about the process of developing and refining the verbs for Arc 3.0, adding PvE damage resistance to Speed Booster to cement it as a strong gap-closing tool, and seeing it being used to move from one cover to the next in playtesting really brought it all together for me. So,
I like this.
I like that.
Especially for running like GMs, raids. This offers more of that run and gun style that's been missing, because you are heavily punished for running and gunning in those higher end pieces of content. Like if you're not above a certain light level in a raid, you're going to get smacked down by being quick or by stepping out of placements. Same with GMs. If your team isn't moving together or isn't their placements aren't correct, you're going to separate or you're going to have a hard time. This this helps with that. Not only with just like, oh, you're gonna get 2 shots. Like, no, there's some damage resist there while you're going from cover to cover and maybe picking up your allies. This feels like a solid change, and I actually really want to feel what I want to see what it feels like in game. Because I'm excited for this.
Yeah. I do also want to point out right there, he said something very specific. He said adding PvE damage resistance to Speed Booster. All right?
Yes.
Now, we have confirmed something else coming back for Titans later that we'll talk about when we get into that, and I do believe that is going to be in PvP.
For sure it will be.
But I think this is doing a good job of telling me that damage resistance not going to be as big of an issue inside of PvE as, say, the restoration or the invisibility was at first whenever the other subclasses came out. So, moving on to the next paragraph on the debuff side, Arc 3.0 is bringing 2 to the party, Blind and Jolt. Blinded opponents in PvE won't be able to see, naturally, and will also be disoriented and unable to fire their weapons. In PvP, go ahead.
I feel like, okay, so if I'm the bad guy and I get blinded, I'm going to pull the trigger and wave my gun wildly in the direction that the bomb came from. Because that's a stupid move. I can't use my gun. I can't see. I would be shooting in the direction it came from. But that's just me. I always thought that was a dumb, like, on the bad guy's end.
Yeah.
Every time you watch a movie, it's like, oh, my eyes. Like, oh, yeah, you want to minimize your casualties with your own men. But like, you're the bad guys. Who cares?
You're the bad guys. No one cares. In PvP, blinded opponents will have their screen whited out and their HUD removed for a short period of time alongside a distorted, washed-out audio effect. Jolted opponents
get used to that.
Get used to that. It's gonna be real.
It's gonna be disgusting.
It's gonna be real. Jolted opponents who are damaged will periodically send slivers of chain lightning out to nearby enemies, damaging them in the process. I'm just imagining Jolted mixed with Risk Runner and Trinity Ghoul at this point in time.
See, I'm imagining what's that boots? The bombardiers or
oh my god, the blinding
the hunters
nades.
Dodging and dropping blinding nades. That's just
viable playstyle. No, I've got another one for you. I've got another one for you though.
Yeah.
Gemini Jesters.
It's even worse.
There goes there. Now you have no radar. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. Scroll down a little bit here. Arc 3.0 also democratizes ionic traces, which were previously available only to military warlocks. Now available to all. I'm sorry, Sam. Traces are objects that, when collected, will add energy for all your abilities. Now that you are familiar with the basics, let's jump into the classes themselves. Thoughts, Sam?
Nothing of the warlocks is sacred. They just take it all.
I mean, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. You want Devour? Guess what? Devour for everyone. You want a healing nade? Now everybody gets a healing nade.
Yep. Just the fusion grenades that make the warlocks great. Everyone has those now. Oh, vortex grenade on Void. Everyone has those now.
Would you? I can maybe hit up Bungie. I know they're watching. See if maybe they can give warlocks a throwing knife or two.
No, I don't want your crap.
I don't want your crap. I just want my crap.
I want some things fixed, and we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah.
But, I have some personal feelings towards what's happening next, but let's go.
All right. Let me figure out where to go from here.
So we're on the hunters now.
Yeah, we're on the hunters.
So they go through it while Legend finds a spot. Just go to the spot where it talks about the abilities. So what they go through and they talk about is the identity for each of the classes. For the hunter, they thought the agile warrior monk, closing the distance with blinding speed, using the bow staff, all that fun jazz. And so they're definitely they're leaning heavily into that.
Yeah.
When it comes with sprinting and agility. Agility, yes. I broke up that word for whatever reason. So it's cool. However, they do go ahead and say that, all of the super for Arc was all tied to the bow staff. So they can't put all three onto one. So they're giving the hunters a brand new one as well. It actually looks really good.
I'll go into it. I'm going to start on paragraph 3. Hunter's Arc Staff Super is returning. With Arc Staff, hunters will be able to block and deflect projectiles with a press of a button, as well as perform an armored dodge, where upon dodging, the hunter is more resistant to incoming damage. That's interesting, because that means that the Whirly Boy super is going away. That means they're going to have to fix Raiju's harness and the new Blight Ranger.
Well, no, right there it says that you can already do that. So it will still be intrinsically a part of your kit.
Is that?
So
well, I kind of got the like what they were saying. I kind of took away like that meant that like you could just like whip it to like throw something back, not necessarily.
So it sounds like to me, one of your supers is going to be the new thing, and the other one is going to be like the classic bow stat that we've all come to know and moderately tolerate, with the ability of the second one. So they're just merging the two together.
All right, we'll see, I guess. It'll be interesting. One super just didn't seem like enough. So Arc Hunter is the only real subclass in the game that doesn't have really two types of supers. Because all three aspects are just using... Two of them are just Arc Staff. The third one is just Arc Staff with the additional spin and reflect things. So they saw it fit to give Hunters an additional super, and I kind of feel like I predicted this. I kind of feel like this is exactly what I hoped for back whenever we talked about this before. The introduction of the new Arc-themed super, the Gathering Storm. Here, the Hunter leaps into the air, hurling their staff into the ground or into an unlucky enemy like a spear. Upon impact, the staff emits a damaging burst that jolts nearby enemies. Soon after, the giant bolt of lightning strikes the staff and overcharges it, creating a large damage zone around it for several seconds. While overcharged, the staff sends out arcs of lightning to damage an enemy that moves near it. I have a question. They say into an unlucky enemy. So if I hit a boss with this thing, does that mean that the damage zone like travels with the boss as he moves around potentially?
I feel like I would love to see the ability to aim this thing. So instead of like just jumping up and throwing it straight down, it's like, oh, let me throw like a javelin. Yeah. You would ping somebody with it, and then it drops to the location that you're hitting. It would be cool if you just straight up stick a boss in the back, and then it bolts to him. That honestly could be an exotic. Yeah. I could see them giving that ability too.
I could see that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
More likely, my prediction is it's straight down. Yeah. Because Hunters already have insane movement and jump, so just drop it on top of the boss, boom.
I do like seeing a like an AoE super like that. I mean, because really, I mean, like the Tether is a decent AoE super, and you could even say that the Blade Barrage is an AoE super, especially now that the projectiles explode. But this, I like this. This is cool. This is new. Yeah.
This is true crowd control.
Exactly. Yeah. So I dig that. Moving onto the melee side. The team kept the Hunter's combination blow ability feeling like it was right in line with the Graceful Warrior fantasy. Kills with the combination blow will refund dodge energy, increase melee damage, and restore a small amount of health, allowing skilled Hunters to chain their dodges and melee attacks into ballistic, I think they meant, balletic? It says balletic, I think maybe.
Yeah, like ballerina.
Like ballerina. Balletic burst, I've never heard that word, of beautiful fury. In addition, the disorienting blow melee returns, blinding opponents with a devastating palm attack, while also now amplifying the Hunter along the way. So, very cool. I'm glad to see combination blows sticking around. Really good for build synergizing.
For sure.
Yeah, Hunters will be able to choose from 3 arc aspects to customize their tactical style. Flow state, defeating a jolted opponent, causes you to become amplified. When amplified, the Hunter's dodge will recharge faster and make you more resistant to damage, and you have quicker reload times. That's awesome. Tempest Strike allows the Hunter to perform a sliding melee that launches an arc wave along the ground, dealing significant damage and jolting enemies in its path. And Lethal Current, after dodging, the Hunter's melee lunge range is increased, and their next melee attack jolts the target and creates a damaging lightning aftershock. When used with the Arc Staff Super, after dodging, the Hunter's next staff light attack hits twice. In addition, hitting a jolted enemy with a melee attack will blind them. Okay.
So I do like the names of these aspects, and honestly, I think that's actually why I went ahead and said like, oh, they're going for the warrior monk style, because it's just thinking of it as a different kind of martial art that your hunter specializes in. And honestly, that is really cool, especially with them going into like this whole identity thing for all of this classes.
Yeah.
It's cool to see like this in particular really lean heavy into that. I'm excited to see how this is going to work. I know it's going to be super annoying to fight against in PvP. But man, I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of damage you can cause in PvE. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. It's what after I'll make comments later. Next big thing. Blink movement is coming back to hunters, Arc hunters specifically. In fact, the blink ability will also include a baseline buff for any class that has access to it. Looking at you, Void Warlock. So it's going to be buffed across the board, but it is coming back for hunters. I never really used it in Destiny 1, but it's kind of cool. I can see Sam's vein just throbbing in his forehead though. So
nothing is sacred.
Moving on. I'm not really going to touch on that. We're aware of what Blink is, so we're going to move on to Warlocks.
I will say this real quick.
Yes.
On the Twitter page, when they posted this link, there was a guy who was just so adamant. He's like, "Oh, everybody else gets. It's cool that everybody gets these movement options, but they're all tied to subclasses and exotics." And everyone in the comments like, "You're an idiot. Look at all the things that you can have." It's like, "Well, I have to build into those." No, you can do this. Well, it's tied to an aspect. You have to use those anyway. Well, I have to change up my entire build then. It's one of two things, bro. How are you not using it? It was hilarious. I thoroughly enjoyed the good read that it was. But right, so for Warlocks, I got this one.
All right.
So the power fantasy it's the most clear out of all the subclasses. Two separate images come in mind. The Lightning Shaman, I do not agree with that. And the Palpatine shooting lightning from your fingers.
I do agree with that.
The Lightning Shaman? No, I don't know.
No, not that one. Not that one. The Emperor Palpatine, I do.
Palpatine thing, yeah. So, no, I'm thinking like Kamehameha bad boy. No, that's the power fantasy I have. I want to be able to levitate in the air with lightning powers and shoot blast out of my hands. No, they're thinking like, let me lightning rod a storm and then shoot it out of my hand as a conduit. No, no one says that when they jump in the air. Everyone's going Kamehameha, blow their load. So these two supers will be coming back to the Warlock. They're combining the top tree and bottom tree together, so you're getting the landfall ability and a couple other things. Players will be able to shoot arc beams of energy out of their hands, and then the Storm Trance thing is coming back as well. Warlocks have two melee abilities utilizing the power of lightning. The Ball of Lightning melee will send out a floating ball of arc that disorients enemies, zapping enemies from above, and then Chain Lightning will send out an area of lightning and to strike and jolt the primary target and create jolts around enemies in the process. So basically the way it works is you hit an opponent, it bounces out a beam of lightning, and it hits multiple targets. The Ball of Lightning is the same we've always had.
Same.
Shoot it out, and it explodes.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same two melees we've had already.
Yeah.
It's the same two supers we've already had already. Get used to hearing that, especially for the Warlock. This is my biggest gripe with this class. The Warlock's thing is being amplified. Okay? Modifying all their other abilities, and it powers them up. For the Ball of Lightning, if you're amplified, the Ball of Lightning will zap targets 3 times instead of 1 time, and you get more damage for it. Okay, that's kind of cool. And then for Chain Lightning, it chains more targets. More specifically, while normal Chain Lightning affects 1 target and has 1 chain, this does 2 chains. So if you hit somebody while amplified, you're sending out 2 bolts of lightning that can ricochet across the field. That's pretty cool. So here are the 3 aspects for the Warlock.
I'm just saying, I'm imagining that right now with necrotic grips.
Oh, for sure. With the poison, everything? Yeah, that'd be nice. All right, so Arc Soul, it's coming back. There's no change to this, literally at all. It just fires faster if you're empowered. That's it.
Yeah.
Literally nothing has changed. Lightning.
I can ask him. It says the rift charges faster when allies are near. Is that true? That's not,
always been a thing.
Has it always been like? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it was like bottom tree arc, because I used to run that when we played trials. Because I'd throw down for my Arc Souls, and then you guys would be standing next to me. I'd have my rift back for the next round.
Right.
So that's been a thing. I think it's like element of conducting or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
We also have. I'm gonna skip over the middle one, and I'll explain that one in a second. We have the last one is called
Electrostatic
Mind. Arc ability kills and kills on arc debuffed enemies create ionic traces. Where you collect any ionic traces, you become amplified. All right. That's a standard ability we had in Middle Tree. Killing anybody with arc gave you this. Or any of your abilities, if this gave it to you. The only new thing we're getting is this middle aspect. And that is this. You turn into Sonic the Hedgehog. And you roll. So Lightning Surge, Warlocks activate their melee while sliding to transform into a ball of lightning and teleport forward, calling down a field of lightning at the point exiting, jolting targets. So here's what happens. You come running out of enemy, you slide, and as you're sliding, you turn into Sonic, where you turn into that ball, and you homing attack on the enemy. And when you pop out, lightning. That's the only new thing that the Warlock is getting. Aside from all the buffs and debuffs that are being brought to everyone else, we're seeing, as a Warlock, minor changes to our already standard abilities. Nowhere do they say they're buffing Chaos Reach. There's no mention. This might come later in next update, that they're going to buff our Geomags, but there's no mention of changing anything about our current supers. Like, oh, Tickle Fingers and Big Explodey Beam, that's fine. Keep it the same. You have the two melees now that you've always had, that you have to be buffed to get them to do better. But they did combine top tree and bottom tree. So you get the full benefit of being able to have landfall while it sounds like landfall
while having the blink.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying you don't care that that's that's like
I get it. But my biggest gripe is almost nothing has changed.
Yeah, I get that
for us.
I get that.
Versus the Titans get almost a complete.
They got a complete overhaul. Complete overhaul.
The Hunters are getting a new, which arguably the Hunters needed it. The Hunters are getting their new super ability,
and they're getting blink.
These aspects are pretty sick. Yeah, they're getting new stuff added on to them. Yeah. We're getting modifiers.
I do want to say, don't look at the Lightning Surge as Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay, that's degrading. Okay, you are not a cute woodland creature. Man, Warlock got the stick in 3.0, says Sniper.
Oh yeah.
Okay, no, you look at it, you are Samus freaking Aran. Okay.
Yeah.
You are
with the spin dash.
Yes.
Yeah.
But instead of dropping grenades, you drop lightning.
Yep. It better be strong.
I would hope so. Yeah.
So I'm remaining. This is my first knee jerk reaction, right? So Legend texts me this as I'm waking up. It's like, bro, did you see the update, bro? No. And so I saw the text. I'm like, I'll text him back when I read this. So I'm laying in bed and I'm reading it. And I'm like, all right, Hunters, that's cool. Nothing new for Warlocks. Everything's new for Titans. I'm like, yeah, Titans, that's cool. Send. And so I reread this and I watched someone else talk about it today too. And I'm like, we got gypped. The exotic that we better get for this season better be the best thing ever, or I'm gonna be upset. I'm not particularly happy with the way Arc is falling down on the Warlocks here.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. Maybe they're severely buffing Kamehameha. So Hunters and Titans get one-shot melees. Where's the Warlocks? So I'm thinking it's more crowd control. That twin arc lightning ability is going to be sick.
I failed to see where did they say that the Hunters had a one-shot melee?
Your combination attack where you slide.
You have to build into that. Yeah, no, you have to build into that. You have to get a couple of melees off before you can do that. That's not just one and done.
Yeah. But
we'll talk about Titans. We haven't talked about Titans yet. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Blood's over there chomping at the bit, waiting for this.
He's waiting. He has been waiting. He is ready.
I do like this description.
I'll go over it. Titans haven't traditionally been known as paragons of mobility, but with Arc 3.0, the team is shaking things up. The team had a couple of inspirations from the mind of the Titan Arc revamp. Lead with your fist, bare knuckle brawler, and the freight train. Yep. You don't get to move the Arc Titan, Humboldt said. They move you. The Arc Titan's ultimate goal is to punch you in the face. And so a lot of what we did for Arc Titan was to try and figure out how we facilitate fist-to-face contact as much as possible. Yes.
Which is very true. Very true.
Enter the crayons. Now, that desire to punch all things manifests in a couple of devastating supers that are returning for Arc 3.0, Fist of Havoc and Thunder Crash. While the latter is practically unchanged from before, Fist of Havoc now has an adjusted slam radius that's halfway between top and bottom path, and the ground slam leaves a damaging field in its wake, while slamming from the air causes damaging AoE effect from the previous top tree behavior. So, basically, you can do either or, right? If you start off high and you pop your super, you will have a nice AoE effect before you take off on your rampage, or you can just do it from the ground and basically just get more effect out of it. So it's cool. They balance that out. I like that. In the case of Thunder Crash and other abilities, uncoupling a subclass's abilities from the old subclass Diamond system will result in some substantial buffs depending on how players use it. It's one of the intrinsic advantages to the new subclass 3.0 system brings to Destiny. When you start pairing them with different things, even though nothing changed about the actual ability, they can end up getting significantly stronger as a result, because now they aren't locked into the canned set of perks that surrounded them. Thunder Crash is a great example of that. One of the biggest changes coming to Arc Titan is the new Thruster class ability. I'm gonna slow down for a second and pull this up a little bit here. Blood, are you watching? I need to know that you're watching.
It's hard to watch with one hand,
It's hard to watch with one hand. That's...
Just keep talking.
By double tapping a button while on the ground, the Titan bursts into their throttle direction at speed, performing a quick first-person evade comparable in distance to a hunter's dodge. Arc is the damage type that is about mobility, so if we're going to add a mobility boost anywhere for Titans, it was going to be here. So, you do have to be grounded, okay? But that's arguably better than what Twilight Garrison used to do, because you don't have to be in the air.
So I think the people who loved Twilight Garrison have something to disagree about that, just because they could literally fly with Twilight Garrison. They can do that now with the Lion Ramparts and a sword, so that's pretty sweet.
They can just do that now.
I will say this, though. In my mind, I think... I don't know how many football fans are out there, but do you remember the bus from the Steelers?
Yeah.
I'm thinking that big of a man.
Yeah.
Going full-blown sprint, and then all of a sudden, just on a dime, does like a spin dodge. And he comes careening at you and just decks you to the floor.
God.
That's what I imagine the Titan like coming for you. That's terrifying to me.
My first comments whenever I initially read this is, okay, I like this. Titans get to dodge now, and hunters get to punch things now, like more so. Like, this is great.
Warlocks stay the same.
And warlocks get to warlock. Hell yeah.
I'm happy for the Titans. I really am.
I am too. It's cool. For melee attacks, Titans will retain the seismic strike. No, hold on. Pause. They didn't need it. Blood needed this.
So I will say this. The majority of our clan, give or take like maybe a handful, they all play Titan.
Mostly.
The majority of our clan plays Titan, and almost all of them will use Arc. And they'll use Thunder Crash. And the most satisfying thing is when we're in the middle of a raid and the boss is in like final stand health and you say Titans go, all of them light up Code of the Missile.
It was great this weekend.
It's so funny to watch.
We had 4 because we raided this past weekend on Saturday. Myself and Sam. I was the only hunter. Sam was the only warlock. Everyone else was a Thunder Crash Titan for that boss encounter.
That all wore Loreleis, by the way.
All wore Loreleis. Which you noticed as soon as we loaded in, you could see their ears light up before they were there. So funny. It was good. It was good. All right, let's finish this one up. For melee attacks, Titans will retain the Seismic Strike Shoulder Charge, which blinds enemies. Performing a Seismic Strike while amplified will increase the radius of the blind, and the blinding effect will last longer. Ballistic Slam also returns, where players can slam the ground after sprinting in air, creating a damaging explosion upon impact. Sniper said that was great. Yeah, he was there for it.
Yeah.
Those returning melees will be joined by a brand new charged attack known as Thunderclap, as in clap them cheeks. Here, the Titan player holds the melee button and charges up arc energy that can be unleashed in either a quick, powerful jab, i.e., like Chidori or something, or held and built up to be unleashed in a furious One Punch Man style blast that will devastate an opponent. The charged state cannot be stored, and the Titan must be on the ground to charge the punch. The damage is significant. A 90% charged Thunderclap will one-shot Guardians in PvP, but that reward will be balanced by the time it will take to build up that charge level and the fact that you must remain stationary to charge. Always a dangerous move in PvP. Excuse me.
I'm interested in this ability. I want to know, after it's fully charged, are you just running around like the Arbiter with the energy sword in Halo until you land that hit? Or is it because you can't you can't store it?
Yeah.
And you have to be stationary.
That's my thing.
You have to wait for the guy to come to you? And just...
That's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm wondering. So I can imagine a world where this would be okay inside of PvP with cryosthesia.
Oh my god. No, it's terrifying.
I'm already. You see the wheel spinning in my head right now.
Oh my god, that's so terrifying.
Isn't it though? You're welcome, Titans. All right. Now we're gonna move on. We're gonna go over the Titans aspects before we finish this out. Touch of Thunder improves arc grenades in the following ways. Flashbangs fires an additional blind impulse on its first bounce. Of course.
Holy crap. That's it. That's the only... that you run that. That's it. Well, actually, no, there's one more in here.
There's one more, for sure. Pulse. When the grenade damages an enemy, it creates an ionic trace for the Titan. Pulse grenade damage increases over time as the grenade lingers after impact. Okay. Lightning. Grants an additional charge for the lightning grenade and jolts targets on initial blast.
Yeah.
Storm. Creates a roaming thundercloud that moves and tracks enemies, similar to Stasis Hunter, Silence, Squall Super, firing lightning bolts at the ground underneath it.
That's the Warlock's grenade, by the way. How come we don't get this?
That's literally the Warlock's Destiny 1 grenade.
No, that's our 2 grenade as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I'm sure.
Nothing is sacred.
No, I mean, I'm sure you'll get the storm grenade too.
Oh no, I know we already have the grenade.
But this is
aspect
gonna be stupid.
Like, whatever.
Yep.
Yep.
Juggernaut. Okay, here we go. Titans get more. We're not done.
Yeah, I know.
We're not done, guys.
I'm so happy for them.
Juggernaut, while sprinting and with full class ability energy, the Titan gains a frontal shield that blocks incoming damage. When amplified, the shield is stronger. Once the shield is depleted by taking damage, the player's class energy is depleted. I do like that it depletes the class energy once it's done.
Correct. Yeah.
That being said, Bastion might be very useful.
Gotta put down a brine over there, boys.
God. Dude, but back in Destiny 1, that Juggernaut shield would tank a Celestial Nighthawk Golden Gun shot. Okay.
Wasn't that just like an exotic they could wear, like on their boots? Wasn't that an exotic?
They did have one that did that, yes.
Yeah.
But
so they're basically giving a D1 exotic into their kit in the form of an aspect.
Well, they had the Juggernaut as a thing back in Destiny 1, but it was amplified by that exotic.
Right.
This again,
is its own thing now.
I do like that it does deplete the class ability. That's good.
Balances it
a bit. Holy F. And it depends on how strong the shield is. Let me be real. Okay, it depends. Yeah. I've been very adamant about my frustrations lately with glaive shields inside of PvP.
It's stronger than a glaive shield. Oh my god.
Everybody's going to be on Titan. And you know what? Just to slow everybody down, I'm going to start playing Stasis Hunter again, and I'm going to start using Cold Snap Grenades. Like, sorry. Like, this is...
everyone's movement speed.
You made me do this. Like... Yeah. All right, now we're moving on to the actual fragments, unless you have any more comments on these. Oh, wait, I didn't go over Knockout. My bad.
Yeah.
Knockout. Melee kills trigger health regeneration and make the Titan amplified. Critically wounding an enemy or breaking their shield increases melee range and damage for a brief period. Titan's base melee becomes arc empowered while knockout is active. That's pretty cool.
So, I like where the Titan's identity is now. Like, this is really cool. You definitely feel like the unmovable object. You're just punching all the things, and this is originally where the Titan came. I think Juggernaut's actually a sick ability. Yeah. I think Knockout's going to be a sick ability. So here's my thing. I don't think Touch of Thunder is going to get a much use unless you're in endgame content.
Yeah.
Because it offers too much versatility versus the other two offer punch all the things.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking down to Titans, I'm talking at them.
Well, it also...
They know what they want.
It also depends. We'll have to see on how many fragment slots these grant. We'll have to see.
Also true.
Which, we don't know yet, but yeah.
Even still.
Because
this is pretty sweet.
Because, again, they're only giving us a few of the fragments here. They're not giving us... they're giving us 4 of them. So you can bet there'll be 10 of them, like there are now for each of the others. But and we'll go over those now. Spark of Beacons. When the player is amplified, arc special weapon kills create a blinding explosion. I'm going to talk about all this. I'm going to go through it and then we'll talk about it. Spark of Resistance. When surrounded by enemies, the player has increased damage resistance. Spark of Momentum. Sliding over ammo will reload your weapon and grant a small amount of melee energy. Sliding over heavy ammo increases the amount of energy granted, which is the Titan ability that they have. Spark of Shock. No, it's a momentum transfer that they have. Spark of Shock to players' arc grenades jolt enemies. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. They basically say that they're going to go over it in the showcase on the 23rd in better detail. I wanted to go over this because, dude, Spark of Beacons. When the player is amplified, arc special weapon kills create a blinding explosion. Holy crap. 4 Barons and those Reservoir Burst Plug 1s that we got, dear God.
No. Yeah, special. So that you're looking at, like, Salvage or Salvo, too. Oh,
that, too. Well, yeah, but I say for Barons because it's a wave frame. But it's arc. Yeah, Salvage or Salvo also, again, same kind of thing. And you can get the same rolls, by the way. Same rolls, Chain Reaction and Ambitious Assassin, which is getting buffed.
Anything that causes a massive explosion is going to be a devastating effect with this particular aspect. Because you've successfully just blinded the entire battlefield. Because if it pops one, it's going to pop the other, and just the whole field is going to be debuffed. Which then plays into other aspects. This is going to be nasty. Yeah. And honestly, like, you can kind of already see, like, the wheels turning a lot of heads. You can even see it in our own right now while we're sitting here talking about, like, oh man,
leaving.
We can really be doing something with just a few things. So
yeah,
it's going to be good. I am excited to see what happens next. My first knee-jerk reaction is I was not happy because I wasn't getting anything new other than just being able to turn into a little ball. Without damage testing anything, my first reaction is I'm probably going to stay on Solar. Not that Solar was overpowered. Void was the overpowered one for Warlocks.
You've got some great build synergy, though. Like, Sam has this whole thing where he can basically run back-to-back Well of Radiance supers, which is great for end-game content, of course.
Yeah, and running with a clan that doesn't really have Warlocks, and the Warlocks we do have don't run support. I need that. Our clan needs that. So that's what I'm kind of, I wouldn't say being reserved into, but that's kind of where my spot is right now. And everything I'm seeing here, like, this is really good. And probably for solo play, I'd be running this. Or with people who don't mind running their own healing.
Right.
But until then, like, I'm probably going to be Well of Radiance build for a while.
And we need to see what happens, if Kamehameha gets a little buff, maybe,
It's a better damaging option. We'll see. Right. And honestly, I could see them coming out with an exotic that straight up allows Kamehameha to, in PvE, go through walls.
Do you want to go?
Or just some cool extra bits.
You better get shoes on right now if he's going.
So, we'll see what happens. I am excited to see what happens next. So,
Love you, hon.
I love you.
Bye. Have fun.
Well,
Mrs. Xcalion, everyone.
My wifey. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. This is... I am excited. Because for me, right, like, being the hunter, this whole thing that they have with talking about moving quick and, you know, being amplified and all that, that plays right into the hunter's MO. Like, that's... For the hunter, that's great. It's my playstyle already. Like, that's how I do things. And then again, also for Titans, I'm very excited because they are getting basically an entire blanket rework. And
probably their most used
yeah,
super is getting that nasty ability.
Yeah.
I am very excited to see how all this shakes out for those two classes.
For sure. For sure.
I'm very underwhelmed with the Warlock stuff, but I could be wrong. But I mean,
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
The good news is it's a week away.
It's true. We don't have to wait very long. I will say this. I was doing some digging, and there was a podcast that happened with a group called Critical Analysis. And they sat down with, I forget the gentleman's name, but he works with the weapons department for Bungie. And they were sitting down, they were talking about, like, oh, you know, what could we see happen next? What kind of weapons are we seeing? And they said specifically this, and this is the reason why I want to say this, is because it ties specifically into something for me. When they sunsetted the weapons, they did that because it was difficult to update them any further than what they were already at. They couldn't fine-tune things. They couldn't change things around due to the way the engine was. So they said anything past Shadowkeep, so everything behind Shadowkeep was so difficult, and it is so difficult to re-update or rework, that it's better for them to build it from the ground up. We're still going to see those weapons come back. They're just going to take longer.
Yeah.
Which is why one of the buffs for auto rifles, they said the heavier hitting auto rifles, as it rolls out, it's only going to roll out for non-sunsetted weapons. Because they can't keep updating the things everyone keeps in their vaults. So my ringing nail is not going to see the full potential it's going to have with this new stuff.
Sure.
That also means I'm not going to be seeing my Black Army weapons for a little while. Or I'm hoping that this is one of the first they decide to really put their nose to the grindstone on and give me back, because I miss them.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about how they would rework some of those, because ringing nail was a solar auto rifle. And if it came back, because right now, again, the curated role is Rampage Dragonfly. I would love to see it come back still with Rampage, but incandescent.
Firefly.
Incandescent. Yeah. Incandescent would be great.
And honestly, that would fit into my whale build. I need another weapon. I'd probably be using.
Right.
Snipe says, Titan looks great. Warlock, I'll probably stick with Solar, at least for PvP. Hunter is probably going to be broken in PvP. Yes. And my thought on that is this. They're going to let it be broken for a week or two.
We'll see.
Let everyone like break in their shoes and whatever, kind of get their running boots in place, and then they're going to come in once they have the data. Fix it all.
We'll see. I don't know how broken it's going to be, because, again, as I said in the intro, the damage resistance is specific to PvE.
Correct.
So,
however, mobility-wise, everybody's moving faster. And
potentially.
We've saw this once already with Void. We saw this once already with the Cure and the Restoration. It took them a week or two for the playtest data to come back.
Right. Because
you're never going to get everything right on the first go. It does take time.
It does.
And with the way they're planning on doing things in the future, the way they're, synergizing PvP with our subclasses, they have to look at it like that. It is way better for them to release something broken and super amazing than it is to release something underwhelming, because if you release something underwhelming, there's no data, there's no playtest.
Yeah.
No one wants to use it, so you're not getting any data back on it. So you start buffing it in weird ways, and it never quite ever makes sense. Versus to bring it out a little too well-tuned, a little too broken, a little too strong. Everyone plays it. Now you know the areas you can bring it down in. It's a rule for gaming across the board. MOBAs, Call of Duties, every game that has PvP aspects, this is what they do. So I imagine this is going to come out really strong out the gate.
Just like Void and Solar did, yeah.
Yeah,
just
that's what I'm
like
saying.
Stasis did, you know.
Yeah, everything came out super broken. So yeah, for the first 2 weeks, I'm staying out of PvP.
I'm sure.
I'm not touching
Well,
it.
it's going to be again because the other thing to think about so far as PvP goes, SBMM will be introduced on Tuesday.
That's skill-based matchmaking.
Yes, skill-based.
Watching 2 weeks ago.
It's going to be interesting, and I'll go ahead and use this moment to say something about that. If you are concerned about SBMM, if you are concerned about the changes, whenever this mode comes out, whenever it comes out, and Control has SBMM behind it, they said loose SBMM, yes, but it will be SBMM nonetheless. If it's trash, get out of Control. Like that's all. That's the simplest way. The thing is, and we said this before. The normies, if you will, you know, the casual players. No, you might see the slightest uptick of them getting into PvP. It's going to be a small uptick. But for the PvP players that get in there and sweat it out every couple of days or every day or whatever, you know, myself, Snipe, you get in PvP quite a bit. For us, the best way for us to do something, and this is what I said on Twitter. I'm not a fan of cancel culture, but I am a fan of putting your money, i.e. your time, where your values are. And if this is an activity that is bad at launch, then get out of the Control playlist. There's other playlists you can go play in that aren't going to have it. The weekly rotator playlist is still going to be connection based. Rumble's still going to be connection based. Not survival, elimination, still going to be, you know. So you can do those, or you can just get out of PvP, take a break. Maybe, I hate to say it, maybe grind Gambit for a couple of weeks, but get out and stay out of the Control playlist until they do something about it. If enough people do that, I promise you they will immediately do something about it. They'll look at it a weekend and say, oh man,
our numbers have dropped.
They tanked. Numbers tanked. This is our most popular PvP activity, bar none. Snipe, yeah, there you go. Go touch grass. So yeah, that's my comments there.
And honestly, that's not a high soapbox to get off of either, because it's like, don't like it, don't play it. That's literally what it is.
Exactly.
So all of these changes and more coming. I think this launch is going to be good. I'm looking forward to where the story's going. It's been shaping up to be a real good season. Where you're going to get the Halloween event. We're going to see a lot more coming on Thursday and even more on Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's next.
Yep. Had some changes this week with not changes. Had a little season finale, if you will, at the helm this week. That was interesting. Go check that out if you haven't.
Go get your free Ascendant Shard.
Get your free Ascendant Shard and your exotic Sparrow. But, dude, they're doing things. I don't know how else to say it.
That's true. But that puts us at the hour mark, and
pretty close.
This was an extra special episode. So
yeah. I'm glad we were able to do this.
Yeah,
so
we'll be back on Saturday. But until then, I'm Batsam.
And I am Xcalion. And we will see you this weekend.